I'm thrilled to welcome back to Resoundingly Human the 2024 INFORMS President Julie Swann, who is also the A. Doug Allison Distinguished Professor and Department Head of the Edward P. Fitts Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering at North Carolina State University. Julie's going to share some behind-the-scenes updates on all that's been happening with INFORMS so far this year. So Julie, thank you so much for joining me.
I'm delighted to be here, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
It's kind of hard to believe, but we're already halfway through the year and so much has already happened, including 2 INFORMS meetings. In fact, let's kick our conversation off with a look back at the 2024 INFORMS Analytics Conference, which was held in sunny Orlando, Florida this past April. What were some highlights from that meeting for you?
I always love the Edelman Prize competition and the suspense when nobody except the judges know who's won that, and then the big reveal, as it were. That Edelman is such an important recognition and visibility for the company and for Inform. Some call it the Nobel Prize of Analytics and Data Science. So that's a real highlight for me. Also interacting with the industry board and the roundtable and other groups and lots of practitioners from many different domains was great also.
And now, just this past month, the 2024 INFORMS Alio Associo International Conference was held in Medellin, Colombia. Could you share a little background on this event and its significance to INFORMS?
International conferences are really important for Informs. We partner with IFORS, the International Federation of OR Societies, and we co host with them every few years. And we also have our conference that we take internationally, and Colombia was this year. We're already making plans for next year, and I don't think that I'm spilling the beans in ways that I shouldn't, but I think it will be in Asia next year, and we have lots of Informs members in that part of the world, but also ones who will come from all over the world to attend. And so Colombia and other locations are certainly a really important part of that. Subdivisions also have conferences internationally. I was just in attendance at the Quality Statistics and Reliability Conference in Como, Italy, and it was beautiful. And there were lots of participants from Europe and other parts of the world. So great opportunity to connect with our fellow colleagues throughout the world.
So, Julie, now I'd love to circle back to some of the topics we discussed in our very first interview back in January when we kicked off a brand new year of Resoundingly Human and shared a look ahead to all that was in store for INFORMS in the coming year. Let's start with the INFORMS membership. How is that continuing to grow and evolve in both diversity and members, in particular with individuals in industry?
Great question. And now, partway through the presidency, I can tell you a lot more than I could tell you in January. We established an early career practitioners committee to really look at this across the entire Informs enterprise. And that transition often that people are making from when they're getting a degree to when they become part of industry are broadly defined, lots of different types of industry, lots of different types of focus areas. That's a really crucial part to their professional journey. And we want to make sure that Informs is serving those communities across everything that they might need from a professional society. And so that's being led by President-elect Dave Hunt, along with a number of others throughout the enterprise, and making sure to integrate that with our other practice activities. And we look forward to seeing what that group has to tell us about how we can ensure that we are serving our early career participants at Informs. And we continue to focus on growing the membership. And I think that we also have a lot of growth that's expected in international areas. Not because we're going out and saying, we necessarily have to grow in one area or another, but rather we have groups contacting us asking if they can establish an Informs chapter in their country. And of course, we always welcome that with our international members.
Another topic we discussed was the rapidly developing role of AI, both within the INFORMS community and the world at large. What role is INFORMS playing in all of this excitement and activity?
That is another extremely important area, and I cannot emphasize it enough. Of our new graduates, we think 75% of them are using AI in the workplace in some kind of way. And in some parts of industry or government or the media, when they talk about AI, they're talking about it sometimes as an umbrella term, and that does include many of the areas in which Informs works, including data analytics and operations research and management science. So, we should not, Informs members should not think, oh, I don't do AI if you're not necessarily someone developing a large language model. We have established an enterprise-wide AI and OR committee that's being led by past President Radhika Kulkarni, and that group is going to be helping to develop a roadmap for Informs. It's going to be really understanding what's going on throughout the enterprise now and where we need to continue to innovate and build for the future across all of our products and services. And so I expect that many different groups are talking about, within Informs, are talking about how they need to incorporate AI. And so we're looking at that enterprise level as well to make sure that we're addressing what our members want and need.
So we've already covered our analytics and international conferences, but there are still two big Informs events yet to take place: our security conference later this month in Washington, D.C., and the Informs annual meeting this fall in Seattle. Could you share what you're looking forward to about these upcoming meetings?
Thank you for pointing out those are Inform's national level meetings or enterprise wide meetings, and there are also subdivision meetings. I mentioned one that I was in attendance recently. I love these meetings, and especially ones that are a little bit smaller or a little bit more focused, like the security one that's coming up. That one is co-located close to the Washington, D.C. area so that people can participate from government, from military, from industry and nonprofits, in addition to academics and others. And so if anybody's interested in policy, then that would be a great conference for them to attend. The one this October, that's in Seattle. Amazon will have a big presence in that, and the conference is being chaired by someone from Amazon. I expect continued innovation on our general meeting, and there will be lots of exciting keynote speakers and opportunities for posters and paper competitions and recognition. It's a great opportunity for all of us to come together, including not only people working in academic practice, but also ones in various types of industry organizations, doing research, doing applications, and all of that. And we are starting also to see that new communities form at these larger conferences. So that will be an important part.
Julie, we've talked a lot about Informs so far in this interview, but I'd love to hear an update on, well, you. How has your 2024 been going so far?
It's an exciting year. I've had a lot of travel recently. I mentioned the QSR event in Italy. I was recently in Taiwan, where I met with a number of Informs members, and there is a chapter in that part of the world. I've got upcoming travel to other kinds of events. So the most recent couple of months for me have been an opportunity to help showcase Informs and be meeting with groups from lots of different areas. Of course, every day there are new innovations coming out with respect to AI and what that means for the future. And I like to remind people we're not just about predicting the future, we're really about making the future. So Informs and Informs members and our constituents are helping to drive what that future looks like.
Julie, thank you again so much for joining me, and I'm looking forward to continuing to check in with you throughout the rest of the year. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to provide an update on or are excited for in the coming months?
We didn't talk about certification today, but that's really important. We certainly see that companies are quite interested in having some kind of certification in the space related to analytics and data science, and Informs has the leading program in that area. Informs is also requested to participate in accreditation of programs related to data science, and that's important to look at those degree-based programs, which ultimately graduate lots of students. I also like to remind people about subdivisions and finding communities. I think that that's where the heart of Informs is, and people can find their niche in this larger organization. We're really excited about everything that's going on, and thank you for the chance to talk about a little bit of it today, Ashley.
If you'd like to learn more about today's episode and guest, visit resoundinglyhuman.com and check out our show notes. The podcast is also available for streaming and download on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Wherever you listen, please be sure to leave a 5-star review to help others find and enjoy the podcast. Until next time, I'm Ashley Kay, and this is Resoundingly Human.